When I was in either very early high school or in the later years of middle school, my parents bought me a wonderfully crappy digital camera. All that they knew, and to be fair, all that even I myself knew at the time, was that I enjoyed taking photos, so we went for the easiest and cheapest bet for what they assumed would be a phase. I took the camera everywhere and began taking photos of everything I saw. I would hang out with my friends for hours, taking photos of our different ideas, which were, more often than not, related to weirdness and teen angst of some sort. And then I would edit them on free websites like Picnic. Looking back, the images I made at the beginning of my photography career are more than a little bit cringeworthy, but they got me started. Throughout the rest of high school, I continued taking photos of everything I saw and everyone I spent time with, usually either using my sisters and friends as models or setting up a tripod and being my own model. I started playing around with changing light and color, as well as setting up and creating different kinds of shots, but I was too shy to take photos of much else other than myself, my friends, my family, and the things I encountered on a daily basis. Going out of my comfort zone for photography, asking someone to move, asking someone I didn't know, well, if I could take their photo, the list goes on, was, how do I say it, a personal no-no for me. The photos I took during this time are generally very dramatic and cool, but not very unique or all that interesting. I remember trying to take one of these so-called cool photos one day at camp, and my friend told me that he didn't think that my camera was designed to take a photo like that. By the time I got through my first or second year of high school, I was still taking photos so much you'd think I needed to in order to breathe. When my parents realized photography wasn't just a phase for me, it was something I actually enjoyed, was decently good at, and wasn't going to stop doing anytime soon, they invested in a nicer camera for me. Of course, it was an old Canon they found for pretty much nothing on Craigslist, but I loved it. I took it everywhere, to camps and family vacations, anywhere I was surrounded by people I knew. Around this time was when I finally started taking more and more photos of people, or well, of more people. I'd always taken photos of my friends and family, but now my focus wasn't on making and editing an image that could pass as a stock photo. Instead, I was finally doing with photography what I really love, snapping photos of the people that I love while they're expressing themselves. I fell in love with capturing people's expressions and individuality and putting them in photos in ways that tell a story. My first actual paid photography-related job was with the young daughter of a friend of a friend. I hung out with my friend and the little girl for a photo shoot for her 3rd or 4th birthday, and I was honestly almost surprised by how easy I found it. All I had to do was hang out with a kid, listen to her tell me stories, and take photos of her throughout it. I gradually found through doing more child-related photo shoots that even if I didn't know someone very well, I could still capture the parts of them I noticed and wanted to point out. Eventually, my love for people, especially children, and of photographing them from sort of behind the scenes, led me to be the photographer for several years for a non-profit organization known as Blue Skies that gives and carries out a vacation for families of children with cancer, giving the families the chance to spend a week together, truly relaxing. I enjoyed being their photographer, mostly because I could continue to snap photos of people I only knew a little, but managed to capture the things I noticed in them in my pictures. Of course, I still took photos of mostly the children, but this also helped me become more accustomed to photographing adults and people my age that I didn't know. I also got a lot of practice asking people if I could take their picture, something that at first made me really uncomfortable, providing a reason not to take a photo at all. Of course, I didn't just photograph for jobs. I also kept taking photos everywhere I went, of everything and anything I could. Family, friends, nothing was off limits. But by this time, I was starting college. I knew that it's hard for photographers to successfully make a living, so I wanted to keep it available as a hobby instead of pursuing a photography degree. Basically, I don't think that I thought that I had what it takes to ever be taken seriously enough as a photographer to go after it as a career, in which I assumed I had so little possibility of success. So I was happy to keep my photography ventures small instead of bold. By the time I graduated high school, guess what? I was still taking photos, so I got a new camera as a graduation present from my parents, one from which I only recently upgraded, making it much easier for me to control the photos that I took than it had been on my old camera. Even though this renewed my excitement about photography, college started to keep me too busy to pursue it very much. However, working as a photographer during one summer with the End It movement, a nonprofit designed to raise awareness of sex trafficking, made me want to get back into photography. I got my camera out, brushing more dust off of its bag than I'd frankly like to admit, and I started taking it everywhere again. These days, I still take photos everywhere I go of everything I see, but I'm much less shy about it now. Being a paid photographer for so long now, in so many different situations, has helped me with that a lot. I'm definitely much more comfortable being behind a camera now, and I'm also much more used to doing all of the things that requires. Much of these things, like asking people to move, used to make me really uncomfortable, but I've learned that they don't make me less of a photographer at all, perhaps even more of one. People are much more willing than I'd assumed they'd be to accommodate a photographer who knows what she's doing and acts accordingly. I still take my camera everywhere, of course. Now that I have more experience, I'm able to use what I've learned throughout using old cameras and doing various photography jobs to do a lot more with photography than I'd once imagined I would be able to, even just for my personal photography. I can get photos of artists I like from far away. I get to be the friend hiding in the bushes and taking photos when my friend proposes to his girlfriend. I get to spend time with people and tell them to tell me their story as I capture what's behind what they say for the world to see. I show people the beautiful things I see in them, and I give them the power to share that with the world. I wouldn't give up anything for that gift. Because I enjoy photography so much, actually, by the way, I use actual Apple products for editing my photos now. No more free websites for me. It's difficult for me to charge people for it, especially people I know. The first job I ever did, that one for the little girl's birthday I told you about earlier, I think I only charged $20 for. But wait, there's more. Now I'm also the photographer for Silver Storybook Weddings, a local company that organizes and throws people's weddings for much more affordable costs and covers literally everything depending on what package people pick for their wedding. Because of this, I get paid for the opportunity for me to focus on both of the parts of photography that I love, capturing people's expressions and emotions and telling a story through them. I get to use photography in a way that allows me to show people what I see, notice, and love. I wouldn't be able to do it without the confidence I have now, and I never would have gotten here without any of the steps in the process I've gone through, any of the less than high quality cameras I've loved and forced myself to learn on, and I'm excited to see what the future has for that process.